Hello, and hello everyone to Crusher Convo, where we are crushing the conversation one episode at a time. I am so happy to have one of my favorite people, podcaster and friend, Abby from First Flight Podcast. Hello.
Hi, it's so nice to be here, and I love that you brought me here to talk about this subject. So I've
You
been
are the
kind of
first person to think that I thought of. I was like, I have to have Abby for this. This is just, and if anyone doesn't know, especially from last year when she was on Crusher Convo, we did the episode Frame of Mind.
hmm,
And it wasn't just one, not two, but three outfits that Beverly Crusher had. So it was the perfect episode for Abby. And if you listen to her from, green shirt and open pike, she is talking about those outfits and she knows what she's talking
oh,
about.
well, thank you. I like to think that my obsession brings some joy to people besides me because what do I wear most of the time? Star Trek t-shirt and jeans or cargo pants, but I appreciate when other people have really good costumes.
Yes, and Beverly has a decent amount. I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, "Oh, I think she's only had a handful." And then as I was going through the list, I was like, "Oh no, she had a good amount." But I did add a couple of Picards because
Yeah.
they were some fantastic jackets. So,
Yes.
but
That
before
show raised the jacket game for sure.
she really does, she had like what, five? Like that
Yes, and they're
that
all great.
costume, that costume designer loved
Mhm,
Gates.
mhm,
I could
mhm.
see why they tried to steal their outfits. Like I would too.
Yeah, and I
I
hear
don't
they're
know. It was
comfortable
funny.
on top of it all. So, like, to
Yeah.
have something that you wear on set that's actually comfortable on top of it all, awesome.
You also have to remember though, I feel like they're like, oh, they were so comfortable, but they're also comparing it to what it was back in the TNG days. And
Very
who
true,
knows how that
very
was.
true.
So it could have been the worst thing ever, but they're like, this is way better than what we used to be.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. Those elastic jumpsuits were unforgiving, unflattering, and I guess uncomfortable. So
A little bit, just a little bit. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump in. We both decided to do our top five favorites. And so we're gonna go back and forth and you'll see your pictures as they pop up. So let me go ahead and put that in now. This one is my pick. And this was like the full shot. So I was like, I have to do
yeah,
this one. It is the lovely Big Goodbye pink suit, 1940s look with the black hat and the little black veil. And I mean, look at that purse. I'm just
yes,
saying.
handbag.
Then that, so here's the thing about the bag. The bag is big. I'm not sure if for I'm not a 1940s connoisseur. I have no idea, but I don't know if they were that big. I felt like they were a little bit smaller, but in this she had everything in that bag, right? She was pulling out
Mhm.
all the makeup, the lipstick, and she probably had gum and didn't realize it. I think
Or
I
at least
think
a
one
mint,
of the
right?
a mint something. I think the best thing about this outfit is not only even her makeup, it all looked great. I loved the pearls
Oh, yes, the little
and
touches.
yeah, and I loved how her stockings with her shoes and everything. And of course, in this scene, she does that little trip fall down the stairs, which Gates did magnificently. But this was one of those moments where we got to see Gates's funny side, and so this was really nice. And I do love that they did a callback on Star Trek Picard. So when they were showing all of her mementos in the beginning of the Next Generation, I saw the pearls and I was like, oh, the big goodbye.
Yeah,
That was the. So then that makes me think like, did they
it meant
do more
something.
Dixon Hill? Yes, it meant something. Did they do more Dixon Hill holodeck stuff? She had the pearls. I mean, in my head canon, they went back to his office without Waylon and Data, but that's just me.
I would like to think that they did all the chapters of the story and perhaps another novel as well.
I think so. I think, one thing that we learned about Picard and Beverly is that they do have a lot in common. So, especially the whole detectiveness and, what did she say when Data was saying he was being grilled or on ice because he was being interrogated? She's like, why aren't we all being interrogated?
Yeah, exactly.
She was
Well,
adorable. I'm not going to
that's
lie.
the fun of the holodeck, right? It's living
Yeah.
theater. You get to play. It's role playing that we all do and we all love, and you get to do it for real. And when you have
Yeah.
every costume because you have a replicator, you better believe you're going to be looking good going in. Like,
Right.
I kind of always hoped, and I understand budget TV and all that, but like when you see people leaving the holodeck, you're assuming other people are coming in after. I always wish for like the crossing of the costumes. Like, oh, you must have been doing Robin Hood. Yes, I was. Now I'm going in to do Shakespeare.
Which they kind of showed. Yeah, they kind of showed that in Lower Decks.
Yes, when they're all running around. Yeah.
Yeah, or even on the holosuites on DS9, like, all right, your time's up. Next person starts walking in, you know.
Yep.
Now, I'm curious, since we're bringing up the holodeck here, what would have been your one holodeck theme that you would have wanted to do?
Oh, that's hard. Okay, so if I'm living on a starship, I don't need to play that I'm on a starship because that's probably where I would go in real life, is that I would just I would get a uniform that actually fit a chesty woman, which I really would appreciate there being more of out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you understand that. We wear a lot of t-shirts for a reason.
Exactly.
But where did I go? Maybe ancient China. I have a sister who lives in China. And there were some really interesting like festivals and stuff back then. And I think it would be really interesting to see the differences between what we think of as traditional culture and what the actual culture would be. And I think, and there'd just be amazingly good things to eat. So,
yes,
you know.
That is.
And if you're on the holodeck,
important.
you can eat as much as you want, and it doesn't matter because it's not real food.
It's not real food.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. I think if I'm obsessed with like ancient Rome or ancient Greece times. And so I would have loved to just kind of see that culture.
Yeah.
You know, that was always my dream, is to go to Greece or something like that to see like the ruins and things like that. But I also really liked the Titanic prior to it.
Prior to it hitting the iceberg.
Iceberg's coming, time to go. That would probably, but I think my biggest one, though, because I have three options here, is being there on April 15th, 1947, Jackie Robinson's opening day in Major League Baseball. That would probably, just to be in that crowd and to see him just in all his gloriness and seeing him perform for the first time. I'm a huge Jackie fan. I grew up with the Dodgers and I love his story. And I think he's such an inspiration. And I would eat that up like in 2 seconds.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
I would just love that. Like every April 15th, it's like, tax day. No, it's Jackie Day. And I'm watching 42 and I'm sitting there watching Chadwick just, knocking that role out of the park. I absolutely love that man. So, but just wanted to see what your idea was for holodeck. So let's go to your first pick, which is the sweater dress that was in Allegiance and Frame of Mind. So why'd you pick this outfit?
Okay, well, for a couple of reasons. One, I like that they reused it because it does not happen very often. And I like not. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit when I was on before, when we're like, oh, she had to obviously wear this one again so Picard could see it, because when she wore it in Allegiance, it wasn't real Picard, it was fake Picard. And it's not a dress that you waste on the person that you want to have see you in a dress you're looking good in, because this dress is made for her. Okay, so she's got that gorgeous like collarbone area that's just so graceful. Like you can tell she's got dance training. People who have that natural kind of grace about them seem to hold their shoulders differently than like I do. At least I don't know about other people, but I don't have that natural grace. And when you see it, and this is very modest, right? This is not, hello, I have cleavage, hello, I have legs, hello, I have whatever. But it is incredibly sexy and it is incredibly beautiful. And it just, the way that it drapes is very flattering. You see that whole swath of skin up at the top, but it doesn't ever feel like it's too much or that it's exposing. It's just elegant, and it lengthens her neck. It's a great length. It's that length that hits kind of right above your knee, so it's convenient. It's a gorgeous color. Like, this woman can make a slightly colored neutral shine like nobody else can. Like, I'm pretty sure we're talking about
the skin tone and her red hair.
Yes, and the just like
works well.
just barely sage, like the whisper of sage in this. It is beautiful. And I really like that it's long sleeved. Like you don't see a lot of like nicer dresses that are long sleeves like that. Again, a lot of times they're cut short sleeves or sleeveless. And you could almost even see this being one that would have cut off right where like that the lines and the folds go across the bust, but it doesn't. And it just looks elegant. And you see it in motion. You see it, you know, they're dancing in Allegiance. You see her moving in it, and it never gets out of place. It always just settles really nicely. And I don't know if this had 8,000 pins in it or any of that, but it just always looks good on her. Sitting, standing, moving, eating, whatever. It always lays nicely. And it just stands out to me as, yeah, you know what? This is a dress that I would repeat. If I had a dress that fit me like this and looked this elegant, I would wear it a whole bunch of times too, because it's beautiful. Just needs pockets, but so do 99% of dresses out there. So
yeah, I was trying to see in that long picture over here, and I was trying to see if there was pockets, but yeah, I don't think there was any.
No.
Funny you mentioned the pockets though, because that will be kind of one of my picks.
I appreciate that Beverly loves a pocket.
Yes, I think for me, at first, I've learned to appreciate this dress. At first, I was like, she looked like a mummy. And the reason why is because, and here's why, it's because it's all one color going all the way down. I think with Allegiance, they made even the shoe the same color.
Yes.
And I felt that was just too much. But I think
was 90s.
Very 90s, yeah. But I think in Frame of Mind, they changed the shoe, and I think the dress is actually a smidge shorter. Because and you see in Allegiance, it's like right at the knee or just below the knee, but you could see in Frame of Mind, it's a little bit higher. So I think that, in my opinion, made it better because I think it balanced it out because she is wearing the leggings and then the shoe's a different color. But I do agree that I think the color itself, I do love the top part off the shoulder. I mean, she's got great shoulders, collarbone, back, all of it. And then, of course, her hair, like I was saying, her hair, her skin tone, it just matched really, really well. So I think I'm not a fan of the Allegiance version, but I am a better fan of the Frame of Mind version, I guess I could say.
Well, you know, when you wear something more than once, you learn how to accessorize and do it that better every time. So
yeah, especially now later on, you know, her and Picard have gotten closer. So maybe she's just, you know, changing it up a little bit.
There you go.
I would think so. I don't know.
Well, and I always wondered when I was young. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like foldy part, could it flip up and become a hood? Like if you were stuck in the rain?
That would be cool.
So convenient, wouldn't it? And there is fashion that does like that wearable hood and all that.
Going back, you could kind of see she might, like right here in that dancing part.
Yeah.
She might be able to pull it off, you know? Yeah,
maybe.
That would be very convenient. So, pockets. My second pick was this 10-4 outfit in Second Chances. Unfortunately, this is all we got. She was just sitting there watching Riker almost make a fool of himself, trying to do
Nightbird.
Not didn't get to it, but I love this outfit.
Yeah.
I love the top, showing her shoulders. Like you said, it's sexy but modest, right? And then, of course, this was the 90s, so we always had those high-waisted pants. Jeans, of course, for us, but these pants, but they look very flowy. So it looks like she could dance in it. She probably has nice boots with it. And if you really pay attention, guys, she has pockets, wonderful little pockets on the side. It was all like, she must love this outfit, but I love the color. I think it works really well. And I just wish we saw more of it, like instead of her just sitting in a chair. Actually, I think Troy looks really nice too. I'm not a really big fan of when they tried to match the leggings with the color of the dress. That just seemed too much to me. But so like those matching was just, but I do like the dress on Troy. I think the hair looks nice. I think they were just like out having a girls' night out at 10 Ford, but this top. I'm digging it.
It's that same, like, almost a neutral, right? So, like, it's definitely
that
green.
Sage.
Yeah, but it's got that brownish to it. And it's really interesting because when you look at the color scheme on the D, this both helps her kind of
Uh-huh.
like feel like she belongs there and also stand out from it. Like it's almost picking
Right.
up the colors that are behind them or in the carpeting, which we all know and
Uh-huh.
love, you know? So I think it's
Her
just,
pants, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it feels thematic, and I
Yeah.
like that. And I remember seeing this for the first time when I was a kid, and I always looked up to Crusher. Like I was just like, Beverly is
Mhm.
amazing. She's everything I want
Yeah.
to be, you know, all the parts of her. And she wears really cool clothes when she has the chance to pick. Like, and I remember looking at
Mhm.
this one and going, I would wear that if I looked like her. Like it's just,
Yeah.
again, it looks simple, it looks comfortable, it has pockets, which as
It
an
has
adult,
pockets.
I need pockets every moment that I possibly can. Like I have children, I
Right.
work with children, I have
Mhm.
stuff, I need pockets. And I love that they gave her earrings in this one too. Like you don't
Yeah.
see jewelry on Beverly a lot, which makes sense. I mean, she's a doctor. You don't want to accidentally lose an
Mhm.
earring in a procedure or anything.
Oops,
But
yeah.
exactly. But
Working
it
on
just,
data and something falls
yeah.
on
Oh, sorry, Dana. You've got an extra ring in there now.
Got a little he's a little jingly. He's like, "Oh, okay." Sorry.
No, I'm imagining Data walking down going jingle, 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 jingle.
I just saw Data Lore, and you know how they had those side to side,
Yeah,
and they were comparing, so they were doing their so that's what I was thinking as you're
that would
saying
be
that.
funny. That would be funny. Oh, but this outfit is beautiful, and you're right. Sitting next to Troy like that, these are friends. These you can tell they're just having a
Mhm.
good time. They're poking at another friend of theirs. The look that Riker
Yep.
gives Troy when she keeps saying Nightbird is one of my favorite Riker looks of all time.
Mhm.
He just gives her the
Oh,
"Are you
yeah.
serious?" look,
Yep.
and they
And
just look.
Crusher gets it. She's
Yeah.
like, "What was that?"
Oh yeah. Oh
She
yeah.
knew. Yeah.
And those are friends, you know, and this
Yeah.
looks like she got a little bit gussied up to go out, hang out with her friend, but this looks like normal. This looks like how I
Mhm.
expect her to be when she's just being Beverly. And that is so
Yeah.
nice to see. And it feels like something that would really be in her closet. So bravo to the costume designers for picking something that does that, because it's not always easy. I mean, we know we dress ourselves. It's not always easy to look that good.
I mean, I'm a housekeeping manager. When they said that I had to start wearing, like, blazers and all, I'm like, "Oh, no." I'm like, "Just give me the scrubs and a
And a
T-shirt."
nice badge,
Really?
you know, you need to know I'm important
Yeah, I'm
here. I
just
have a
because my
badge.
scrubs, like, I got, like, 5 or 6 different pockets, like, they're all over the place, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
"Man, I don't get that with my outfit." So, yeah, that was a little disappointing when I got, I got promoted. I was like, "Ah, I have to change my outfit." The one thing that I do wanna mention about this is that as, of course, the series went on, you do start to see a little bit more differences with Beverly's appearance, right? So they
Mhm.
start making like sometimes her hair will be straight, but they'll add a curl or
Yeah.
something, right? Or
The
in this
micro
sense, like
bangs.
the micro bangs, totally 90s. But I did like that even these pants, they were kind of like velvety, you know, so you
Mhm.
knew they were soft and comfortable, but they just look really nice. So
Yes,
I don't know. I every time I see this episode, it just stands out to me.
I agree.
All
Here's a quiz.
right, here we go. So I've got to tell you though, everyone knows that I love Sub Rosa for a
Me
whole different
too.
reason.
Yep.
But she had some awesome costumes in Sub Rosa. And so tell me why you picked her beaming down outfit.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think any episode of TNG has Gates looking more beautiful than Sub Rosa. Like, she is
Amen.
on point every frame she is on screen in this. She has the best
Mhm.
hair, she has the best
Ah,
makeup, she has the best
mhm.
costumes, she has everything. This is like
Yep.
I was her this is where I would point out going, this was the most beautiful I've ever looked in my life. Like, I just feel like no matter
Mhm.
what you think of the episode, that is not something you argue because she looks
Right.
impeccable. I love this outfit where she's beaming down, she's resigned her commission, she's gonna go down, she's gonna be
Yep.
a healer. It
She
looks
dropped Picard an email.
yeah, exactly. She's like, totally
She's
anyway,
like, "Bye." Didn't
yeah.
want to see him like face to face.
Yeah, exactly. Toodles, I'm out of here. But
Yep.
I like this one because it feels first of all, she's going to a Scottish colony, right? So it's going to be
Yep.
cold. It's going to be damp. We saw the funeral not looking the worst, but okay, they're having issues. There's fog everywhere. She's got something with layers. It looks warm. It's like a little quilted kind of vesty coat thing, but
Mhm.
she still looks like Beverly. She looks elegant. She
Mhm.
looks put together. Looks very attractive, yet again, very modest. It's long sleeves, it's a long skirt, long pants. She's got rockin' awesome boots, which you see. She's got
Love the boots.
love
Love these
the
boots.
boots. Yes, these are some
Yeah.
fantastic
They
boots.
look like those high button-up kinda boots like
Yep,
you would see
yep.
in a old-time
An
Scottish
old-fashioned yep,
country. Yeah.
exactly. All the little buttons down the side and everything.
Yep.
And this is again, it's kind of a neutral, but a greenish or like kind of maroonish neutral. We see those so much on her because they are such good colors on her. And
Yeah.
bringing all that out, and she's got her hair pulled back, so you get like that poof of that gorgeous face on top, but against like
Mhm.
the darker part of it. And okay, there's pockets in the vest. We can't see it in this picture, but there are pockets on the side of the skirt too. And this is
Oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah, I watched it.
You are on it.
Well, I've
Beeline for those pockets.
always liked this outfit because, like, the very first time I watched it, I remember thinking about this moment. I mean, this is obviously an important scene. This is where you realize stuff is really
Right.
going down. Picard really realizes stuff is going down, and
Right.
I feel like she looks definitely not Star, but she still looks incredibly professional. Like if this
Mhm.
woman walked up to my door and said, "I'm the healer here to help you," I'd be like, "Okay, cool. Like you look like you got it together."
Yeah.
But it looks Scottish, but it looks elegant. Like it's got so many layers of Beverly in it. And I feel like when you
Right.
think about it in the context of the story too, she's wearing this kind of dark thing because she's going down to kind of this darker moment, this darker place. But at the
Mhm.
same time, she feels this deep connection both because of Ronan, the anaphasic energy ghost, and because of her
Right.
grandmother. And I feel like when she put this on, she felt like her grandmother. Like you can see she's carrying
Mhm.
herself like Felicia. And I really just it always stands out to me as something that this is elegance right here
Mhm.
standing in front of you. And I just, again, it looks comfortable. It looks like something that would be appropriate and it looks professional. And I just have always thought about this as one of the outfits that stands out to me of this is Beverly in a nutshell right here.
Yeah. I think one thing that I also picked up from this outfit is that because we've been noticing those greenish, neutral tones to her
Yep.
and how dark this is because that's kind of how she's feeling, right? She's
Hmm.
kind of in a dark place.
Hmm.
She is as an addict being addicted to Ronan's energy, she is giving up everything in her life for this addiction. And so I liked how they really darkened that look
Hmm.
because it represented of what she was feeling. So you're looking at that outfit in 10 4 where she's having fun with Troy and
Right.
it's a little bit lighter, it's fun, has the maroon. And then here we go to this very powerful moment where she's, technically breaking up with Picard through an email, Dear John letter and Starfleet style.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the heck is this? But I mean, it's a moment between the two. And also because this was very hard for her. I don't think Beverly wanted to go, but she just felt compelled to, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a very, very good moment. But like I said, all her outfits at Sub Rosa were just
Beautiful.
fantastic. Yeah,
And I
absolutely
wonder
lovely.
in the back of my head, did they make that little vesty part just slightly green to pick up on the fact that her eyes were slightly green from the whole anaphasic energy thing at that point? And I'm
Well, the green eyes weren't happening yet. They became green
oh,
down
that's right.
when
After
she
he did
was.
it. That's right. You're
Yeah.
right. I got my timing a little
But
off.
I think here I think she had this outfit on earlier, but she had a bigger coat on. So you remember when
Yeah.
she saw Ned in the cemetery and then she took off her shawl and she had a
Yep.
coat on and stuff. I was trying to see if they were two different outfits, but I think they were the same one. So this is just her Koldos
Staying warm in
walking
the
around,
fog.
being roaming in the fog, right? Okay, so let's jump ahead 30 years. My third pick, the con style jacket from the Next Generation, Dominion, and Surrender.
Ugh, that
Love
collar.
this jacket. Oh, here's the thing. I remember when they first were like showing when they dropped the trailer and all you saw was
Mhm.
like she had gotten shot, so you saw the phaser burn. And I was like, "Oh, she must have a really nice jacket." I just noticed the jacket with the phaser burn. And when they decided to show her in that whole beautiful 5 minutes of her introduction of the episode, this jacket is phenomenal, and I love the details because
Yeah.
it's like individual stitching going down, right? And then yeah, you're saying like, and that's where that con style collar comes from. That
Mhm.
oh, help me out here. What was David's mom's name?
Carol?
Thank you. I've only seen
Yeah.
the movie once, so at least I knew David.
You're
But
good. Carol
she had
Marcus,
that kind of, yeah, she had that same style, but it was in red, obviously
mhm.
representing that the red uniforms. But here, the blue, it's Beverly's color, right?
Yeah.
She always had that blue. She had that turtleneck that she had on from the Next Generation. I think this one might be a little different, but it was also like a darker blue. It just
Mhm.
matched really, really well. And I was happy that they had it in 3 episodes. I was happy that they brought it back and, clearly replicated a new one because the other one got damaged, you know, she got shot. I mean,
Yeah, hard to get phaser burns out of a piece of clothing.
right? It was like, "All right, dumping that one, let's go get a new one." She loved the jacket so much, she replicated a new one. Let's just put it that
Right?
way. When you have those good coats and those sweaters, like, I have
Oh,
some sweaters that, was it Where's Beverly? They call them Romulan sweaters, right?
yeah.
Because Laris always wore
Yep.
those long sweaters and stuff.
Yep.
I have those, and I have a couple of them that are my Romulan sweaters, so I totally get it. If one
Oh,
got
me
damaged
too.
and I had a replicator, I'm making 5 more.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and of course, Dominion and Surrender were like a two-parter. But yeah, I all her outfits in this freaking season was great. I loved that even that vest that she had that was in Imposters that
Yeah.
was kind of mimicking this jacket, but more in a vest style, but it had a
Yep.
smaller collar,
Yep.
you know? Gosh, she just looked great. I swear. And I love that they had a lab coat.
Yes. Well,
I had
that's a
I
Beverly
had
standout.
Right. I had 3 things. I was like, "I want these 3 things to happen in season 3 of Picard." I was like, I want her to say, "Penny for your thoughts," which I did not get. I wanted a forehead touch with Jack, which I sorta got. And, and I wanted a lab coat. 2 out
Well,
of 3 ain't bad. I'll take it.
yeah. Yeah. And even if you count it as 1.5, that's still, 50%. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's totally fine. Yeah. Was there anything that really stood out, whether it was Beverly or anyone else that really stood out in season 3 of Picard that you were just like, "Oh, I love this," whether it's the uniforms, the away jackets, even anything Jack was wearing?
Well, I loved the jackets. I love a good
Mhm.
jacket, a good cardigan, a good sweater. Like you were talking about Romulan sweaters. I live where it's cold a lot of the time, and you never know
Yeah.
what the temperature is going to be. So I have heap tons of sweaters and jackets with pockets and layers and all that. I mean, just the fact when you saw the cast photos when they were sitting on the D and they're all wearing those jackets and they look so crisp and like clean but
Yeah.
modern, like it was really nice. And one of the things I noticed about this is obviously the construction is gorgeous. The actual fit is amazing, but the colors were all like that little bit like deeper, richer, darker than what we were used
Mhm.
to. And
Yep.
I think that fit really well with the tone of the season, with the
Right.
feeling of it all, with them being older and in different parts of their
Mhm.
lives. And I really know that was intentional because you see it go all the way across. And that was just
Yep.
that bit of continuity, but changing it just that with that little tweak that made it feel like it
Mhm.
was, yes, this is our crew, but a little different. And that's good because
But a
if it
little
was
different.
exactly the same, it would have felt just like retreading. And this definitely felt like the
Mhm.
next chapter of the story. And I
Yeah.
really, I really liked that. And I have to say, I really like Deanna's outfits in season 3 too. Like when she's stuck
Mhm.
in the brig with Van, like she's got a cool outfit on. Like if you're gonna be kidnapped, at least be kidnapped in a cool outfit, right?
Yeah, and comfy. Yeah, she
Yeah,
looked great. I
yeah,
think one of the things is I remember when the entire, cast had gone on to the D as they were, turning it on,
yep,
and we see the bridge, and it's the bridge we all know, but they're all in these dark,
yes,
ominous outfits because,
yep,
like you said, that was representing what they were going through. They've all been through something dark, they've all gone through something rough,
yep,
and so seeing them in these black or dark blue or dark,
mhm,
yellows and reds on the bridge that they were once together 30 years prior, it was a really good contrast, and I loved how Terry made that
yes,
work, right?
yes. And
So,
it was slow as they walked out and across, so you could really
yes.
feel and see that and register it and let it sink in before
Yeah.
talked, which
especially
was
with the
magic.
lights slowly coming
Yes,
on. Yeah. Did
chills.
very, very good job. Good job, Terry. So for your number 3, you picked the famous blue sweater of Cupid, and there's, of course, cute little Jack under there because she was, of course, like 4 or 5 months pregnant in this in this photo.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna have to say there's a theme here because this is kind of representing the sweater dress from Allegiance in Frame of Mind. But what else do you love about this sweater?
Okay, so when I first saw this episode as a kid, I loved seeing these 2 beautiful, powerful, romantically entangled with Picard women having chats and both wearing fabulous outfits. And because,
Mhm.
sometimes when Beverly would go to breakfast with Jean-Luc, she was in uniform. Sometimes she wasn't. Well, in this episode, she
Yeah.
wasn't, and she gets to wear this sweater. I have wanted a sweater like this for since I saw it, right? Now, probably never going to happen. However, I do have a sweater that is this color, and I
Oh,
kind of
okay.
it's like my homage. It's a kind of a bigger, flowier sweater. It doesn't have the cool neckline, but I
Mhm.
think about it as the closest I might get to this sweater because I remember thinking to myself, okay, this woman is in control. She is back and forthing about a man, but in a way that it's not like we both need this guy. It's like, oh, we get to talk crap about this guy now, which I just
Right.
think is such a fun wrinkle with her and Vash. And
Yeah,
this
and Vosh
body,
caught on real quick, so she
oh
knew
yeah,
she was
oh
playing
yeah.
with Beverly and making, Picard squirm.
Yes. Oh, yes. But this color is so bright, it's so it's like Cookie Monster blue, right? It is really,
Yeah,
really blue, but
yeah.
she glows in it. It's another
Mhm.
wonderful, beautiful jewel tone. We get to see that wonderful collarbone area again, and this is a 3/4 length sleeve sweater, which I am personally an enormous fan of because there are so many times that you want a sweater with 3/4 length
Yeah,
sleeves. You can do stuff without pushing it up. It's just the right amount of like warm and cool. And this looks like one of
right.
those sweaters that would keep you warm and cool because the top is a little bit more exposed. Your arms are out a little, but it's nice. And it is not skin tight. I
Uh-huh.
really, really like that they showed, this is a gorgeous woman and she is not in skin tight clothes. She is in this big, and
Right.
now we know why the real reason is because, we're hiding a bump that is not fit in the story. But
Right.
it did not, if you wouldn't have known that, you would have just seen this beautiful woman wearing this gorgeous sweater dress. It's got the big wide knit. It looks comfortable. It looks functional. And it's such it's blue. It's Beverly blue without like being a uniform, which is neat to
Y
see because it kind of keeps her in that same color palette, but in a totally different way. And I
right.
really have always thought of this sweater as something that, like I said, I wish I could have had it my whole life. I've been searching for something like it because I would totally wear this.
Yeah. I mean, every Bev fan that I could think of loves this look on her, and it's just
Mhm.
because we didn't really know about them having breakfast, and I think they started having breakfast after Wesley left.
Oh, I like that.
Because you never really heard anything. She was like really surprised he asked her to dinner when in Allegiance, right, which is season 3. Never really heard anything about them spending time together. But then after Wesley was gone, it was like, they were spending more time together. She no longer had Wesley, and he probably knew that she was lonely. So he's like, hey, let's have some breakfast. And, you know, when she mentions like on occasion, I usually have tea with the captain in the morning. So
Mhm.
that's when we start seeing that, oh, they spend some time together. But she showed up in this, like she showed up in this casual sweater,
Uh-huh.
like she wasn't going to work clearly.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think she always liked to tease Picard, and she walked in at the perfect moment. And here's this other woman in her chair, and she's like, I'm gonna have fun with this. So yeah, it was definitely a great moment between the two. But yeah, it is hiding, little Jack there. Um, but yeah, so
I'm so
she looks
glad
so
you
sad
picked this
here. I'm so
one.
did I? Okay. I know. I was trying to find a really good shot of this, but again, we only get a little bit of it. This was the best I could do. She already looks drunk in this photo. Um,
That's all right. But you know what
she's
she
been
drinks?
dialing
She
back that
drinks
blood.
blue things, right?
Yeah, and blood wine. Remember, she
And blood
finished the
wine,
blood
yes.
wine.
Did finish the blood wine, that's right.
Yeah, Troy was all like, "My goodness, doctor." One cool thing about this, and this is also including Troy, they decided to do these really nice, it almost looks like a sweater top,
Mhm,
very close, not too tight, but not loose. And they were kind of mimicking the colors of their former
mhm,
outfit. So Troy had that purple and she has like this bluish green color. But what was nice is that they each had a different neckline. So like Troy had more of the stripe here going across, but she had more of like a, choker kind of thing.
yes.
I was curious of how it was attached to or how it worked, but I love this sweater. It kind of dipped down a little and went over with that choker part. She just looked really nice. I love the color. She's having fun with her friends at 10 Forward. Clearly they hang out all the time, even a year later. And I just had to mention it, even though we don't get a good shot of it. I can kind of see where where it might lead. I'm sure that she's probably wearing some nice, comfortable black pants with it, and some boots. But here is a woman who she went through hell for the entire time that she was trying to protect Jack. And here she finally gets to just relax and be herself. And now she's an admiral, and her son is safe, and he's in Starfleet. And she's back with her friends, who was her family. And even Picard's back in her life, whether it was a friendship or whatever, because we're not really sure where the relationship status was at this time. But, you just see her more comfortable, a very different contrast of what we saw her with that con jacket, fighting off invaders, and now she's just being herself, chucking back some blood wine and telling Worf he has a beautiful voice. And so, yeah, I really just loved this part of the whole scene. And I just think that the outfits really mimicked just how they were back together again. So,
Yeah, this is such a Beverly outfit. Like, if you put these on
mhm.
mannequins and said, "Who do you think out of the next gen cast would wear this one?" You'd be like, well, besides the fact that there aren't as many women, but you'd be like, "Yeah, that's Beverly, right?"
That's Beverly. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it just the outfit has that same poise and elegance that she has.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's different than Troy's, like you pointed out. And I like that both of these, again, they show some skin, like they've got the mesh or like that netting or the sheer kind of paneling, but it's not
Yeah.
anything that you'd be like, oh man, Star Trek's showing some skin. No, it's tasteful, it's elegant,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, it feels like them. And I like that she feels less structured than the jackets. Like, this is a little more
Oh, yeah.
asymmetrical, it's a little looser in general, just in
Mhm.
how it's put together, which is
Right.
totally fits the feeling
She's
of this scene.
relaxed.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
And I love that she got the little choker type piece, which I'm
Yeah.
guessing, as someone who has a daughter who does dance recitals with stuff like that, is that it's a zipper straight up the back. But just for your
I'm
knowledge there. But
Yeah, no, that's perfect, because I was like, I don't know what's going on in the back because her hair's so long. So I was like, I
yeah,
don't know.
it's
But it
probably a
looks
zipper.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? It reminds me of the time of fashion in the time that Next Gen was ending and like the movies were coming out, that early 90s, early to mid 90s, and everybody was wearing those black like fake tattoo looking choker things, and there was
Yep.
lots of sheer and paneling. So it almost feels like a modernization of the last time that we left Beverly on screen, which I think is
Yeah.
so cool. And I don't know if that's deliberate, but I thought of that and I like, oh my God, I was probably wearing a black choker when I was watching her when these
Yeah.
episodes were dropping,
They were
because
coming out.
right, that was, and I was a teenager ready to try to be at least a little cute. So it was perfect.
Right.
That connection, like I said, I don't know if it was deliberate, but it definitely resonated with me.
Well, there's a lot of times, even now, Gates loves chokers.
Mhm.
So, we saw him a lot of the times when back in the 90s, she would be wearing a choker. And then even now, you still see her wearing a choker. So I'm wondering if she had this idea, or maybe they thought like this would look good. And she's like, yeah, that's great. Because she does love to wear chokers. And she has a really, like you said earlier, she elongates her
Beautiful.
neck.
Yeah.
She has a beautiful neck. And so I think it just worked well versus if it was on Troy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I think the way that they did Troy's, it was kinda supposed to mimic her old
Yep.
uniform, that purple one,
Yep.
without it being too deep, right? So I think it was a really good, modest looking way of showing that these women are still sexy even
Mhm.
as they're older. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but I just loved the sweater. I don't know if you saw the tweet, and I didn't even realize this at this time, but I decided to do the very first line that Beverly did versus the very last line that she said. And so, of course, the very first line she said in the encounter at Farpoint is when she ran into Riker at the mall. And
Mhm.
she says, actually, we were about to do some shopping. That was her very first line of Star Trek history. And as I was looking and dabbling and trying to figure out what her last line was in this scene, in the poker scene, as they were kind of going around and talking, um, this was after Picard had beat Riker and he starts grabbing the chips. You hear her say, I think we know who's paying.
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing that too.
And I was laughing. And we were like, she's still talking about, so from shopping to, so weirdest coincidence ever.
Funny.
It had to
Especially
do with
since you know a
money or
lot of
something.
that at the table was just them completely ad-libbing and just having fun.
Throwing things off.
Yeah.
Cracked me up. I
Oh,
was
that's
laughing so
funny.
hard that I had to post it. Some people were like, "Oh," and I was like, "I know, right? Like, here's Beverly Crusher first. I'm going shopping, and then we know Picard's paying." I don't know. It was just really funny, and that's now that I see this scene, the poker scene, I'm thinking of those lines.
That's funny.
All right, you're number 4. You're going back to
I'm
the
going
originals here. So, but
yes.
more of the season 4, like 5, 6, 7 era,
Yes,
because I know they did change it up a little bit.
they
So
do.
here's her wonderful uniform with her long lab coat and some nice pockets. So what is it about this particular version of her uniform versus the others that you like so much?
Okay, so first of all, I always feel like when they changed over from those like season 1 and 2 uniforms with the little like shoulder things into the rest of it did so much for Gates and her body. Like you could just see
Mhm,
always looked like it didn't fit her quite right the first season or 2. She was so thin and the uniform just fit funny on her. Like it wasn't
mhm.
bad. It's just when you see it done better later on, you're like, that's what it should have been the whole time.
Right,
And so that is the under uniform. Just I enjoy that so much better than the other one. And
right.
this lab coat, okay, this is just classic Beverly lab coat, right? It is so
Mhm.
long. And as someone, like I said, I wear so many cardigans with pockets. And one of the things that I like about this lab coat is when you look at where the pockets are, they're a little bit lower, right? So
Mhm,
these pockets will not catch on handles, edges of bio beds, tables. Like this sounds silly, but as someone who works with small people a lot and gets pockets and like cardigans stuck on stuff all the time,
right,
I bet you when they redesigned this, they thought about that because they were sick of having to stop takes because her pocket got caught on something as she's walking around or
right,
something. And
right.
so just practically, me looking at this and I see those pockets and I'm like, yep, those are good places for pockets because they're not stuck. And it's so minor, but it really elongates her with the longer lab coat. It looks more functional. Like if you're in a medical situation, one of the reasons you have a lab coat is yes, the pockets and all that, but also it can protect what's underneath it. Like if she's in a
Mhm.
situation where something is nasty, she pulls that and she's covered pretty much. So she can use that or she can take it
Yeah.
off and fully wrap it around somebody as like a blanket or it's
Mhm.
just it is a much more practical and useful piece of clothing than it was
Yeah.
beforehand when it was already a pretty practical and useful piece of clothing compared to a lot of them. And so
Right.
I just really like this one. And like I said, every time I catch a pocket on something, I think about, man, I wish these pockets were like 2, 3 inches lower. And they are. So this lab coat just hits me right in the feels as a practical pocket loving person.
I mean, we saw many different versions of her lab coat, right? At first, like the first
Yep.
season, it looked similar to this, but it was shorter and a
Yep.
different blue,
Yep.
obviously. In season 3, it looked more tailored,
Yes.
right? So it didn't look like a lab coat, it looked like a jacket,
Right.
in my opinion. Still had pockets, but they were pretty small pockets.
And at a
But then
bad
as you
price.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And then as you saw in season 4, And I think this was because she was pregnant, and so because they just kept saying the lab coat got bigger as she got bigger. And you definitely see, and it's a different color, but you definitely see the difference in the lab coat where it's just more coverage, you know?
Mhm.
And even though they went back to a little bit of a smaller version, they decided to keep that longer, the bigger pockets, the more she looks like a doctor.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, and all doctors have a lab coat. I
Right.
was like, you know, it's just usually white, and I like that they kept it blue.
Yeah.
And of course a different colored blue, because even their uniforms, it kind of changed from like a royal blue color to more of a tealish blue,
Mhm.
which I prefer more. And even to go back to what you first said with her uniform, I think what in my mind the problem was having the zipper in the front.
Uh,
It
yeah.
just looked tighter. It was the same with the guys, right? It
Yep.
just looked too tight.
Yeah.
Having the zipper in the back, it just felt more structured because they were able to kinda cinch everything
It would
in
pull
just better.
differently. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
and even with the guys, they changed it up a little bit more, so
Mhm.
it was more of a sweater, right? A
Yeah.
pullover
Yep.
than a one outfit. But, yeah, I definitely like these uniforms with the zipper in the back, and then I think this color,
Yeah.
especially from, I think it started in season 5 and 6 and
Yep.
7 was the best. But this episode, I believe, was Emergence, and it, showed the whole the whole
Yeah.
package. So I wanted to make sure we saw that.
It's a beautiful pocket shot.
It's right? I had to make sure we did the pocket.
Yep.
Now, we both picked as our
How could we
number
not?
5. What could we not? Um, the dinner dress of Attached. So I this is a hit and miss for a lot of people. A lot of people really don't like this dress. I think she looks fantastic. Maybe a different color in the stockings. Maybe it's a little too dark, but I do like that it's a different color. Remember how I was complaining earlier
Mhm.
that I do not like the matchy matchy too much. But
Mhm.
what's nice about this, even with the darker stockings, is it's all 3 different colors
Mhm.
and they all work so well. And even the back shot, as I was trying to show, like it has a bow in the back and it kind of goes down longer, and her shoulders, like this is a dancer's body,
Oh,
like,
that
for
look at
sure.
how
Like
she's holding her
I
arm.
know,
She's
I
just
know.
elegant in a freeze frame.
In a freeze frame. I mean, and I love the length of her sleeves.
Yes, 3
They're not
quarters
super
again.
long. Love
Yep.
it, but, I mean, just the lower back, because here we go back to that, she looks sexy and
Yep.
elegant, but nothing like, I hate to say it, but, like, nothing trashy, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she's covered in the front, but she's showing it in the back, and she has a
Yeah.
beautiful structure with her shoulder blades, and like you said, her shoulders are back, and so she's more straight, but I really do love this dress. I mean, and look at her on the couch, like, she was aiming for something. She didn't get it
Yeah.
because she left, but, the thing is her hair was done beautifully. I think she just looked really, really
Stunning.
nice in this. Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about this is that it's structural, right? The dress has
Yeah.
a shape of its own, but it's
Right.
not wearing her. Like you notice the dress. Like everybody who's seen this knows the dress. Like
Yeah.
men, women, children, dogs, aliens, you name it. They know this dress, right?
Yep.
It had to be both of our picks because it's iconic. And yeah, some people are like, "Oh my god, it's terrible." I heard people, what was it? Tacky kahaki, they were saying. And I'm like, it's not tacky khaki, and khaki's not even a color, it's a fabric, but that's anyways.
Whole other
So
conversation.
that's you're talking to the person who literally, when I was in high school, my best friend and I made up a quiz of "Are you a TNG nerd?" And one of the questions was, "Can you name 10 different outfits that Beverly wears?" Okay, now do it with Troy. Like, so
I would pass.
yes, yes, you
I
would.
would totally win, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to be able to dig that up from the archives of my parents' basement at some point, because I bet you those questions are so spot on to me 25 plus years down in my
If
fandom. But
honestly, if you ever find this, do a bonus episode on First
oh,
Flight, and I'm there.
oh, 100%, 100%.
Amart,
I would
book me now.
I have a couple things I have to dig in my parents' basement for. There's a picture of me meeting Robert Duncan McNeil after the first season of Voyager in my parents' basement somewhere too.
Aw.
So sometime this summer, I'm doing a deep dive. But
Awesome.
anyways, this is not tacky kahaki. This is not tacky kahaki. This is not tacky. This is elegance. And now, is the bow on the back over her butt my favorite? No, but it was
Right.
very of the time. And like I said, it gives the dress structure. And there are
Mhm.
only certain people who can pull off structured dresses like this. Like, think about weddings
Right.
you've been to. You can, the women who choose those dresses that have structure are a certain type of woman, because it's just how you carry yourself. And how she
Right.
carried herself in this scene, especially in the walk away, like, oh man, like that, the dress
And the
was
way she
perfect.
walked too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it
Ugh.
swishes because that taffeta has like that harder texture, so it makes just that
Mhm.
little whoosh. So she's making a grown-up woman sound walking away, which usually is, your boot clicks or your high heel clicks. Well, it's not gonna work on
Right.
carpet, so they gave her a dress swish, which it was just that little
Next
sassy
best
bit
thing.
of
Yeah.
femininity walking away, right? And
Right.
I love the colors on this. Again, the burgundy isn't quite a neutral, but they're all very subdued. They're not big, bright. They're not Cookie Monster blue like the sweater was, right?
Mhm.
But it's just so beautiful with Gates, her colors, the way they did the fit. Again, it's the modesty part of it. And I'm not a fan of modesty one way or the other, but I heard a really interesting podcast called Articles of Interest, on modesty clothing in fashion. And it's made me look at a lot of the stuff on Star Trek and go, it's either really, really good at that or really, really not. And it's just
Not
really well, right. And it's interesting to
Troy. Oh,
see,
oh,
yeah, that
poor
there's
thing.
so much on that spectrum. But this is something that is, like, we keep saying modest, and that word has taken on so many negative connotations, but it's not. Like, she is so beautiful and just glows in this dress,
Mhm.
in this scene. And it has nothing to do with how much skin is out there. And it's
Right.
just a beautiful woman being vulnerable and emotional, and then having the
Mhm.
best walk away.
Best walk
What?
away. And the thing
Yeah.
is like I said earlier, she's completely covered in the front,
Mhm.
right? But her sexiness and the beauty of it is showing off her back,
Yep. Yep.
right? So, and she just has the perfect body for that anyways. The one thing that, of course, I posted this on Twitter, and I remember it was like one of those, QRTs.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, show us an image that is absolutely heartbreaking, but no one would get. And I showed a
I
picture of
saw
it.
that.
It was
Uh-huh.
Crusher and Picard sitting at the end. Everyone was all like,
Yep.
oh, gonna go cry now. I mean,
Yep.
she was being sexy in this, especially in that left photo. She was teasing him a little bit, but then as it got real, that's when she had to be like, "You're not ready yet because I saw your dreams."
Well, and she's putting
And
herself first,
yeah,
which
she's putting
he
herself
does
first.
not always do. I mean, she
No,
will
he
put
does
the
not. She was
yeah,
protecting herself that night. I know people
exactly.
got mad that she walked away, but she was definitely protecting herself because he did say at that campfire scene he no longer had those feelings, and that was a big fat lie. And then all of a sudden he's all like, "Well, now that our feelings are out, we should give." And she's like, "Hang on a second,
Uh-huh.
because you're backtracking here." So I do, as much as it hurts that she's walking away, I completely understand why she did
Mhm.
that, and she's doing it with grace.
Mhm.
Right? But I think this is just literally one of the best looks that
Yeah.
Gates has
Yeah, I agree.
in the entire series, you know? And when you go back to that very first photo that I posted, which is season 1, she's in that cute little pink outfit,
Yep.
in 1940s, and then we go
Yep.
to this, in season 7, like, just you could see how much Beverly has grown in a character.
Yep.
And it's just really funny how we're seeing this this evolution of Beverly in her outfits and just how much it's changed, even just from the different uniforms in her lab coat versus what we saw in Emergence in the one you picked for hers. So as the character was growing, so was her confidence, so was how she felt as
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
person. So I think that was super important. And of course, this happened before Sub Rosa. So as she walks away, 6 episodes later, you're seeing that beam down outfit where it's a darker, more
Yep.
depressing,
Yep.
she's covered up. She's completely covered up versus what she's
Mhm.
like here. And that to me just exudes how she feels,
Yeah.
you know? And I think they did such a good job with that. If people really just kind of pay attention to those little details, you totally it just adds more depth to the character.
Well, as someone who spends a lot of time looking at tiny little details in tech, especially costumes and food and hairdos and all that, it is something that is so deliberate. And when you hear interviews with people who do costuming, makeup, hair, any of that
Mhm.
stuff on Trek, they'll tell you, yes, it is deliberate. Like here, now I'm going to forget the name. There was an excellent interview with Mary Wiseman from Discovery, and her stylist or makeup person talking about the
Mhm.
evolution of Tilly's hair. And as she got more confident, her hair gets bigger. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like about that kind of stuff, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
so this is deliberate. And I would like to have seen like all the versions of what else there was before this dress, because I think once they got to this, I can't imagine just seeing the concept of this or seeing Gates put on this prototype and not being like, yeah, that's one everybody's going to remember, because it's
Mhm.
outstanding.
Yeah. And I mean, and Picard's outfit was a reuse from what he had worn in
Mhm.
Lessons,
And they
right?
kind of matched. I mean, they had
And they
the
kinda matched.
metallic-y
Yeah.
neutrals with the line. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
so I
structured
think
again.
that was very yeah, he tried again with that outfit and it didn't work. Um,
Yeah, well.
but I do have some honorable mentions that some people had brought up. Just I kind of threw out a couple here. So of course, everyone loved her look in Gambit 1 with the beret and
Oh,
that
yeah.
jacket, and she's trying to be this badass, which still laugh to this day that she was the sister that Picard knocked up that Riker was looking for. I thought that was just I it took me a few episodes to watch it where I was like, wait a second. Um, just cracks me up. But I think she looks really nice in that, and people had
Yeah.
mentioned it. People love her look in Cause and Effect with her pink pajamas and the pink little bow. I have grown to appreciate it. I never really liked this look. I feel like the pajamas were more very like Asian, like
Yeah.
just the way the buttons were up on the side and cover. But I mean, they're PJs. It's not like she was going out to a party. And everyone loved the pink bow, and I didn't really care for it. But I mean, it's definitely iconic in the sense that she
Yes.
still had the pink bow when she went in that ready room on one of the times. So I do feel that was
I
important to mention.
I feel like
You
when
were
you look at the pink bow, like the pajamas are
gonna
fine. They look like pajamas. They look like they'd be comfortable, though I never know why people
yeah,
sleep with buttons, but that's just me. Um,
right.
but the pink bow, what I feel is the problem with it is that it was too floppy and like not pronounced enough. So occasionally when you just glance at it, it kind of looks like bird poop every once in a while. And once I saw that, I couldn't get it out
Oh,
of my head. Like
you could
you see it because it's
it
not.
took forever.
Yeah. And now I'm just like,
Just
oh man, it's the
flopping
bird poop
down.
bow. Yes. And had it been slightly more up,
Well,
slightly more out, slightly bigger, like it just.
I can't unsee that, Abby.
I know, I'm
So
sorry for everyone who I've just ruined, but
and anyone who watches this, we apologize. We will put a disclaimer
yes.
in front of this episode. I do what for going from those pajamas though to the next photo. um, this was brought up from Kristen on Twitter that I mean, she was saying she's like any outfit Gates is great in, but she definitely loved this and it definitely represented what Sub Rosa was about,
Mhm.
right? So, but what I do like is that it's it's definitely a nighty type
Mhm.
pajama, but she has that wonderfully long robe over it. So
And it
again,
looks
it's
so
sexy, but
cozy.
it's not it looks very cozy. Again, it's sexy, but it's not like overly sexy or overly showing too much. And she looks hella comfortable. I'm sure no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Gates pokes fun at Sub Rosa for obvious reasons, but I'm sure she just loved wearing pajamas at
Yep.
work. And her hair looks fantastic and her makeup was great. So I know some people had mentioned the outfit in Hollowed Pursuits, where
Yeah.
she was in that big gown,
Uh,
swinging with the tree. Even that outfit where she was undercover medical team from Frame of Mind that you said was a little too boxy for your liking.
yeah.
um, but it did have pockets.
It did have
Um,
pockets.
it did have pockets. And I think there was something else that someone had mentioned, but we definitely had a lot of good outfits for Beverly.
Mhm.
And you know, and again, Gates could wear a garbage bag, and I think she looked fantastic in it to be honest.
Yep.
I would wear a garbage bag and I'll look like trash. She could
look
go
like
to the
the
Met Gala.
California raisin for me. That's what I wore that as a Halloween costume in college one time, right? Like, we've been there.
Yes, exactly. She could go to the Met Gala in a garbage bag. I
Right.
will be
Raisin.
I'll be a raisin. Yeah. I did I did have to mention though, so Cameron from Green Shirt, he saw my tweet about mentioning what's your favorite outfit? And I said, I'm gonna do this, man. Rocking the Snuggie in the 21st.
Yes.
I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. I'm all like, I've seen this meme before, but it's just like looking at the side photo in there. Now I own a Snuggie. Greatest
nice.
invention of all time. It's a Dodger Snuggie, so it's even more special. But literally, she was just chilling at home. This was after she got mind raped by those weird, organic beings that took over Picard later on. But yeah, she was just chilling with, her heels and looking at her iPad and probably reading a book. I don't know, maybe, doing some research. But
well, honestly,
Cameron,
I'm just going to say, and, Cameron, I love you to pieces, but if you would find me in the winter most of the time after my girls go to bed, minus the heels, I kind of look like this. I'm wrapped up in something big and snuggly and reading something in my great big chair, which I like better than my couch. So
right.
I am 100% fine with this being a relaxed woman who's just had a moment that was not real pleasant. So guess what? We're getting comfy.
She's getting comfy. Yeah. Yep. I think she looks fine. I mean, in this Snuggie, they upgraded it a little bit. It's not as covered up in the neck, and it gave her some shoulders. Like they did a little poofy at the end. So
nice little cuffs at the end to keep it in
place.
Exactly.
Yeah, nothing too big. Yeah, because the big sleeves are a little much.
Well, but if you're Cameron, you want it to be big and comfortable, right?
Right. But she probably made hers more fitted because she wanted to be nice and warm, nice and snuggy. But yeah, I was laughing so hard with that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm totally going to post this and bring it on. He's like, okay, Cameron, I love you. Thank you so much for making us laugh.
Yes.
But yeah, that was lots of fun.
It was heaps of fun.
Love it. I mean, I got to figure out some fun little lists here, and I'll definitely hit you up because your stuff.
When you do the hairdo episode for Beverly, what her best hairdos are, I'm 100% there, and I could probably rattle you a list right now.
I'm already concocting a list in my head as we speak. Oh my gosh. No, I mean, I think one thing that I'm trying to do differently with Crusher Convo this season is not only just talk about the episodes, but talk about the important stuff and also have fun with it. Right. Yeah. So all the fans love to talk about her outfits or her hairdos or the lack thereof or the wigs. We should do a top 5 wig. We should totally do that. But also even the important stuff that are like I just did the Tuvix of Voyager with Jay.
That was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, just wondering what would Beverly do in this situation because there's a lot of really good Star Trek episodes that I think Beverly would fit well into.
Yeah.
So, I want to have some fun with it and see how it goes. The last episode that I did for this was about the Coda series in Time's Arrow. And so that's where I'm like the connections, the way that they did her in the book and how we lost it, of course, because of Picard. As a Star Wars fan, it's very hard when you lose those expanded universes and stuff like that. But I think, how it all played together and how now I could kind of see it playing in Picard. I mean, those writers did amazing with that. So, but yeah, thank you for joining me.
Of course,
for this
fun. Delightful.
This is so much fun, and I hope you remain safe because the weather is a little
the weather's a little iffy. Right, sorry for the shadowy side of my face because there was plenty of light when I started, and now the sky's about to break. So.
Yeah, you kind of got darker and darker as the time went on. I was like, I hope I don't lose you.
I'm glad that we didn't.
Well, we did good. We did good
perfectly.
Yeah. But tell everyone where they could find you, where they could hear more fun facts and, in your love for Star Trek
And costuming.
and
So
costuming.
yeah. So you can find me personally on all the socials. I'm at Abby M. Summer. That's SOMMER. And if you would like to listen to me talk more in depth about Star Trek and all the jokes and costumes and food that you can throw a phaser at, my co-host Chris and I do the First Flight podcast, which is an Enterprise rewatch podcast. We go episode by episode, dissecting what we love, what we don't, and oh man, do we laugh! So if you enjoyed the giggles on this one, come and listen to First Flight. And TM giggles over there. And you can find that pod anywhere that you look for stuff, or if you're looking for us on YouTube because you found this one here, we are on the Tricorder Transmissions channel on YouTube. But you can find First Flight
Awesome.
there.
Yeah, I've had you and Chris from last season of Crusher Convo, and you guys are so much fun. And I love talking with you. We got to do more of this. This was
Yeah.
a lots of fun. I feel like there's got to be some kind of special, like, I don't know, top 5 ships or something. I don't know. Chris knows so much.
Yeah.
As much as I like to pick your brain with, outfits and
Oh, yeah.
hairdos, he's like
He's got some knowledge on other stuff that I don't. It's a great
he's your
count.
chief engineer of that
Yeah.
podcast for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyways, thank you guys so much for listening and watching us. And until next time, talk to you later, guys. Bye.